There's so much going on in the Premier League, so much going on in the Championship. 2 weeks ago, after the 3-1 win over Coventry, Sheffield United went 3 clear at the top of the Championship with promotion in their sights. But they've now served up 3 successive defeats to Oxford, Millwall, the latest being on Saturday at bottom of the table, Plymouth, and there was some shenanigans after that. We'll get to that, but the result leaves Sheffield United third, 5 points adrift from both Leeds and Burnley, who are tied on 88 points each. And post-match against Plymouth, Chris Wilder said, yeah, at the moment, we've blown this.
You can't lose today and expect to be in the mix and in the shout to get out of the division by losing to the team at the bottom of the division. You can't lose last weekend. You can in a way, but you've got to recover and win the next 2. And you can't lose 3 games at this stage of the season and expect to be knocking on the door and trying to get out of the division. And we put ourselves in a great position after the Coventry game, and basically we've let it slip. So we have to own that and take responsibility and the players' responsibility for a really poor week in terms of results.
So, I mean, there's absolutely no arguing with the facts, Simon, that Chris Wilder faced up to the facts, and the facts are they've fallen apart over three games, Oxford, Millwall, and the latest being Plymouth. So after all the focus on Leeds falterings, there's only one team collapsing in Yorkshire, and it's Sheffield United, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I sat here a week ago forecasting the fact that if I was asked of which of the managers would I feel had the wherewithal to get them promoted, I felt it was Wilder. I thought they'd bounce back against Millwall. And the moment they didn't, it causes you a concern if you're a Sheffield United fan to go to Plymouth. I mean, Plymouth have a propensity, and they've done it a number of times, gone to the top sides and got results and then get beat by everybody else. But that doesn't excuse Sheffield United. They've snatched defeat from the jaws of victory to some extent, and now they've got to get themselves together, very much similar to what Russell Martin had to do with Southampton, and get themselves together and prepare for the playoffs. Because I think the other 2 sides are home and host.
Do you think it's Leeds and Burnley's now?
The only caveat to that is if Sheffield United can beat Burnley in the game that everyone understands as being if they get a result there, and you wouldn't put it past them because they'll turn up in that game because they know they have to. But I think
5-point cushion now.
I think they're done now, and I think they've got to get their head in the game about how they make the best version of being third, because often teams that finish third find themselves missing out.
It's been interesting that they've lost, isn't it, to teams out of the bottom of the table.
Well,
that just shows you how healthy this league is. I mean, I've been an Oxford United fan and hoping that they've done enough now after another great win at the weekend against the other Sheffield team, Sheffield Wednesday. But, you know, to lose to Plymouth and to lose to Oxford are right down there. And then, obviously, Millwall as well. Cardiff is next for Sheffield United. It's another one of those. I mean, they're scrapping as well.
They're fighting
and
done, division.
I think 4 games unbeaten before losing at the weekend. So that ain't going to be easy either. I think he just needs to get back to winning games and just see where this takes him.
As a former defender, Martin, what do you think of what Burnley have done under Scott Parker?
Sure.
13 1-3 goals conceded all season.
Yeah, remarkable. There seem to be almost like there are too many draws in there, but that's been the basis of what they've done. It's served them well. That's a pretty proud record if you're a defender. And they've done it with the ball. They dominated possession in every game.
Yeah.
So that's pretty healthy.
At the end of the game between Plymouth and Sheffield United, Simon, Wilder, who I like, I've met Chris and I enjoyed his company. I met him at a boxing occasion up in Sheffield. He clashed with Plymouth players as everyone was headed down the tunnel at full time. Obviously, the Plymouth players were acting up a bit in front of the Sheffield United, the travelling Blades fans. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this. You see them now, the Plymouth players in green, obviously, heading on over to the tunnel. And Wilder's in there, and there's a right ruck going on with a whole group of people involved, and Chris is in amongst it. Wilder took issue with some of those players, and he marched over to them to say something. That caused a pile-on and a bit of a scuffle. Do managers need to hold themselves to a higher standard than players?
Yeah, they do. And he would probably be better served demanding more aggression from his players in these games rather than take it out on the Plymouth players who are playing at home and can do what they please in their own ground. The fact he's exasperated and frustrated, I understand, I get. But of course there's a higher burden on managers. They're in a position of authority and influence. So whilst I don't expect them to be beyond reproach in every aspect of their judgment calls, I don't think you should be drawn in situations like that. You know, your exasperation is with your team. The fact you've got beaten by Plymouth at Plymouth Stadium and their players are giving it the big one with your fans has got nothing to do with anything other than the fact that you're frustrated with your team. So you can make it about distractions, and maybe there's some method to the madness. And maybe people will say that maybe Chris Wilder shouldn't have been singing "Mind the Gap" a few weeks back when they played Sheffield Wednesday. I personally think that he's very focused on his team. I think what he's done at Sheffield United after that with very poor performance last season to bounce back the way they've done and to put themselves in a position has been commendable, and that's why I commended him last week. I haven't always seen eye to eye with him. I think there's no necessity for this. I think you have to rise above it. You don't.
I mean, there it is. He's drawn into it by two of the Plymouth players, and then it gets quite unseemly, actually, Martin. At the mouth of the tunnel, you see Wilder, and he's going to get seriously jostled here. You'll see the back of his head if you're watching on YouTube, and it is all kicking off. Now, at the end of the day, man, he's feeling for those travelling Sheffield United fans who've gone all the way down to the South Coast. Now, I know, Sammy, you're scoffing at that, but having said that, if he wasn't a manager of them, he'd be standing with them.
Yeah, but the Plymouth players have got every right to celebrate, haven't you? You know, if you've just won a really
in
tough
front of the Sheffield United fans.
Well, it's their home ground. They can celebrate wherever they want. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think really there you've got, look, one thing about Chris, he's a fighter. He'll be looking at what's coming up next. He knows he needs to get 3 points in the bag. They play Burnley coming up, and they can get something from that game. So that's where the fighting needs to be. Yeah. It doesn't need to be in the tunnel, but he's a fighter.
He's
so
passionate,
he wants to take it on everywhere.
Emotional.
Yeah, and you want to see emotion as well.
Should football punish passion and emotion?
But when you're in a position of influence and authority as a manager, you are held to a different standard.
I saw a picture of you the other day giving the middle finger to Millwall fans.
I did. Yeah, absolutely.
And
if I'd have been consequential, I'd have accepted the ramifications of my behaviour.
Were you?
I can't remember. It's a long time ago. So
Come on, of course you remember.
I can't. Honestly, if I did, I wouldn't have any problem saying it.
Jim, you're only talking about 5 points here. Burnley go to Watford next. Then they play Sheffield United, which they could lose. Queen's Park Rangers, by the way, at home is a very difficult game, and then they play Millwall, who could be a banana skin.
If Sheffield United are going to turn over Burnley, they're going to have to do something more than most teams have done all season.
But
get more than one goal past them.
That's what they're going to have to do if they want to.
You never know. You never know. I mean, it is a crazy,
he can't do that.
division.
He can't do that any more than Pardew could headbutt a player on the side of the pitch when he got involved in something.
That's not the same as that.
No, but it's a cousin of it. It's a derivative of it. Managers have to be held to a different set of standards. Otherwise, why are they managers?
So what did you get punished for that? Sorry to do that right in front of your face.
But I can't remember. Of
course you can remember. No, you honestly, remember everything.
No, I honestly can't remember if I got punished or not. I can't remember.
All right. Let's look back in his columns around that time. He was bound to be writing for some newspaper, were you?
Yeah, The Observer.
There you go. Well, I'm a date for you in a second on that one. Chris Wilder and Sheffield United have it all to do, but they know that, and Leeds and Burnley en route to go up automatically from the Championship. What we do know is the Championship playoff game at Wembley, and I'll be at it, will be some occasion in itself. It's a very special occasion for Ian McLaughlin, the former Scotland rugby captain. Do you remember him, Martin? Mighty Mouse, as he was christened all those years ago. He's 83 today. Happy birthday to you as we come up to 12 noon.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.